Something's gonna change. 7.
Greetings and salutations, Earthlings. I am Teresa Zube, astrologer, tarot reader, and chaos wrangler, here to map the brilliance and the bullshit, or the bullshit and the brilliance in your chart. Let's put brilliance last, because the brilliance is there even in the bullshit. Whether you are here for curiosity, clarity, or just creeping, you've come to the right place. Welcome. This is going to be an episode of the podcast, the Teresa Zube podcast, which is what I would like. I've been dreaming about this for a long time. And I have my co-star, the ever-witchy, ever-lovely Rosalinda. And I'll let her introduce herself quickly.
Buenos dias. I am here to be Teresa's sidekick for this lovely show on all things spiritual and excited to be here today.
Thank you. So I had in mind what I had shared with you earlier as far as this soft launch, which has been a little bit of a tumultuous path for our podcast. And it got me thinking, because here's the thing. I can get really down on myself if I don't execute things perfectly. And when that happens, it's so easy for me to throw up my hands and go like, I give up. But one of the things that I love about following astrologers and astrology on YouTube and spiritual channels too, in general, the ones that feel more authentic to me, but sometimes, like the Leo King, I listen to him and they'll take a break. Like sometimes they'll miss doing, I guess the Leo King really doesn't miss much, but some of them do. And then they come back and they're like, oh, like Pluto was fucking with me. But like, that's real life, So while I do strive to sort of have a schedule, I feel like I was so regimented when I was younger that at this juncture, it's more about what flows and what's working, and not to berate myself for not meticulously, methodically pumping out material, because that's not exactly real. And I think that's when things get fake feeling.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Yeah. I'm flowing, and I think not having a schedule feels nice. Like a Monday, I have to do this at 7 p.m. That was really how I operated. We just moved into new decades for the both of us. We won't reveal the age, but I feel like in this new decade of my life, I'd really like to do a lot less structure and a lot more flow, which is the opposite of where I've been.
Right. No, because we tried to meet up a few times, and on the one hand, sometimes it is important for me to do the thing, because otherwise I can procrastinate. Like, it's not about giving it up. So it's finding that gray area, fine line, where I know I'm not forcing myself to do something, because it yesterday, I just was not feeling it. I don't think either. Oh, wait, no, we were going to meet on Saturday.
I think I moved it, and then on Sunday you weren't feeling it, and then we're going to do it at lunch today, and then I had a day that you had to coach me through. So P.S. we're friends also on the side of this podcast.
Believe it or not. Yeah, but
we met on the internet, and now we are here 5 years later, and I'm calling friends. Teresa for life emergencies.
It was an emergency, but it's kind of like that right now. I feel like in life, I have a good friend, Dory. I'm sure she won't mind me name dropping her, but her and I message all the time, and we have this thing going back and forth right now about spirals. She actually wrote, have you ever heard of Medium? I don't know if it's a magazine or an online magazine or something. I get it in an email. But anyway, she wrote an article about spirals. She's been seeing them everywhere. And so every time I see a spiral, which is often, I take a picture and I send it to her. But it's the spiral is, and she was drawing the thing where she used to feel like she was going in circles, when we were younger. But now it's recognizing that even if it's a spiral and then just a hair, it's not a circle. Because if it's a repeating pattern, you at least recognize it a little bit quicker than you did previously. Like I know it's a pattern for me to give up on things because they're not perfect. Believe it or not, there are a lot of perfect people, alcoholics who try to be perfect and fail miserably. I mean, because, but there's a striving for perfection that's at the root of that
Mm.
issue
Mm.
often. So,
Yeah, spirals are something that comes to mind often because we've talked about it. Because sometimes it gets frustrating if you feel like you're repeating something, but I always try to imagine what you've talked about, or even like a staircase, like I'm going in circles, but I'm going up.
exactly. One time I heard ascension described that way. We always talk about like ascending, but when you age, it went something like this. Like when you age, you are actually sort of going up, not the technical up, but like frequency wise and all of that, you're learning and growing. And your body isn't dying. It's that you are becoming more and more of your soul self,
I
and
like
your
it.
body can't go there. Isn't that a way better way to look at
Hmm.
aging? Like,
Hmm.
you can't take this body with you. I mean, unless you're Jesus, I guess.
Jesus has been coming up today,
Really?
rising up from the grave.
That's right.
He's one of my
When
favorite
else?
subjects.
His Jesus
Hmm.
is when yeah. How did he come up today?
Uh, just the resurrection and uh, yeah, talking about how I lost my ruby, and I told my husband that I
Mm.
lost my ruby and how I had previously lost it. He's like, it's kind of like Jesus, like he arose and we're like, yay, and then he went and he left.
And he's gone again.
Then he's gone again. Which I besides all of that story, I like the Jesus story because of all the things that are untold. To me, it's such still a mystery that I think there's so much more to uncover. Like the story hasn't been finished being told yet, and I think that's exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now I'm thinking about Jesus. I know Jesus is your guy. I always vibe with like Mother Mary.
Well, that's what I like about Jesus because I think there's so much to be said about his wife, Mary
Mm-hmm.
Magdalene, and his mother, Mother
Mm-hmm.
Mary, and maybe what they did to maybe resurrect
Right.
somebody. Like that to me is like the exciting part. Like the story kind of cuts off and there's more.
There's so much more for sure. I definitely went through my thing, and I don't know how close we were then, but like, so I was raised Catholic, and I was just traumatized by confession. It's just
Who has
really,
not been traumatized by the
it's
Catholic faith,
intense.
religion?
Like you're in this little box with like an old dude, and he knows who you are, even unless you go to a huge church, I guess. But and I remember like going to catechism. Well, you were Catholic too, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I remember going to catechism to do my communion, which communion happens at like 10, I think, 8, 9, 10, somewhere around there.
Mm,
And
yes.
they talked about venial sins and mortal sins. Do you
What?
remember the difference?
No, I do not
You
remember.
Oh my god, it's making me want to actually look it up. But the
We need a
venial,
Jamie.
yeah, like a venial sin is not that big of a deal. Like that's what my little kid had interpreted. So it might be like lying to your teacher or something like that. But a mortal sin is like murder, or like there are certain sins that were more sinful. And I swear I'm remembering this right, unless it's from another timeline or something. But um, but what I remember is these kids. So if you go to confession and you withhold one of your sins because you're embarrassed to tell the priest, you come out with all of the sins that you tried to unload,
Uh-huh.
and it's a mortal sin.
Oh
Okay.
shit.
You know, so I remember just being terrified that I was gonna like forget a
Forget
sin.
something. Gotta start
Yeah, and
writing down
yeah,
my
right. um, yeah, no, but I mean that's like intense for a kid, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, I mean, how did you feel growing up Catholic? Like, do you? I don't know.
Well, I had an interesting experience because my extended family lived about an hour away from where my mom and dad moved to. So when we went to visit them, we would go to Catholic church. But then when we would be at home, we would go to an Evangel Assembly of God church where they spoke in tongues. So
Oh
very
wow.
different. But I wanted to go to Catholic church and go through catechism because I wanted to taste the cracker and I wanted to wear the dress.
Ah, you
So
wanted to eat the cracker. Oh, the body of
and
Christ.
wear the veil and yeah. So
The
I but
veil, the veil and the dress were that was a big fucking
it's a
deal.
big deal.
It is a big deal.
As you can tell, I like costumes, so a veil.
Right? No, I remember just feeling so I mean I can still remember. But yeah. And then yeah, and so Cora and I have been going to church actually. And we've been going to Catholic church. So, well, you know what? This is a really interesting conversation because I think there are a lot of people who might know me through Facebook or whatever who are like, who's Larry? I think people thought I was calling God Larry, and I really wasn't. Like, Larry was a spirit guide. Anyway,
Okay.
but yeah, but when I went to rehab, I was kind of in a I'm an agnostic. I don't know what the hell is going on. I was never an atheist. You know, I feel like being an atheist is a belief. Like that's just to me like believing in God. So you believe in nothing. You know what I mean? Oh, that might make people mad, but that's just how I feel. I was like, I don't know. And then so I was pretty mad at like the word God. I still don't always think of God as like some dude up in the sky. Like the artwork is kind of cool that depicts him that way, but like not, you know. And then over the past 8 years that I've been sober, so I used universe. I talked about my guide Larry. I would say the divine source, whatever, and I'm still open to all those. But for me, bringing the word God back in felt like a big deal. You know, I wanted to like not own, how do you say that? Restore
Reclaim.
my personal relationship with the word God, you know?
Right.
Um,
So you've been going to Catholic church?
yes. So, but this is, so we've been going to Catholic church. Cora was going to a Bible church back and like way back, like a year or so ago. I think she was going there and she got baptized. That was more of like the saved variety, you know? And so she and I have been going to Catholic church, and I asked her, what do you think of the difference? I picked Catholic just because it's familiar to me, and I've been to other churches where people bombard me, and I just don't want to be saved. Like, and I don't want to be harassed walking into a church. And so I just like to go to be there and feel and whatever, open my heart and all that. And anyway, she liked it. I really do like the traditionalness of it, like the incense and the nice smelly things and the workout, the kneeling, the sitting, the standing.
It works.
It does. But then I went on ChatGPT because we've gone 6 or 7 times now, I think. And, the priest was like, hi. And I can tell they're starting to recognize us. And here's the deal. I don't want to be disingenuous or feel afraid that I'm going to start making friends there. And then they're going to find out I read tarot. You know what I mean? So
should you
yeah.
walk in with a witch hat and then just see what happens?
Like maybe I don't, but do you get what I'm saying? Like I want to be
I
all who I
totally.
am.
I know.
And
I understand.
like
But
I
excuse
love
me.
yeah,
Oh, sorry. Not like excuse me, like to you. Excuse
I
me
know.
to the Catholic Church. They wear hats. They wear
Yes.
robes. They have staffs. They have altars. They have
Mhm.
incense. They have bejangles. They have spells. It is the old ways, and I feel like tarot is the old ways or something of the old
Mhm.
ways.
Mhm.
So can they? I feel like that would be the most open society for tarot reading.
I mean, like I feel, and maybe it depends on where you go. I will say I feel like Catholicism down here in Texas is way
Mm,
different from how I was a Catholic on the Northeast, like in New Jersey.
what's the difference?
Um, they're a lot more Jesus-y down here. I don't know how to,
Uh,
at the
Bible
Catholic Church.
thumping.
Yeah, kinda. I guess. I mean, they're great. Everything is great, but
Right,
it's
right,
just
right, right, right.
it's a lot more like Jesus focused, just in general. Maybe that's a Southern thing. I'm not
It's
quite
a male
sure.
thing, a boy
I
thing.
guess I don't know. But when I was growing up, I felt like the Catholic Church was a lot more about God, and that's what I really liked. Like
Mm.
Jesus is cool too. Like, because I know
Yeah.
Jesus is your boy. I'm not trying to like dog on your dude. Anyway, but
No, I agree.
yeah, where was I going? Oh, so I asked ChatGPT. I was like, okay, here's what I want. I want traditional, but I want to not be ashamed or embarrassed
Mm, mm.
about tarot. Not even ashamed or embarrassed, but embarrassed, but like open. I want to be open. If somebody asks me, I'm not trying to read the priest tarot cards, And they said Episcopalian because
Interesting. I don't think I've ever been to
yeah,
Episcopalian church.
yeah. I don't know. I guess they have a traditional service, and then they have a more modern service. And like the modern ones with the rock music and stuff, like everybody has their thing. Like, why do we like the
Right.
particular music we like? Like, I'm like, I want this exact,
Can
experience.
we just do it with incense though, please? That's hard to give
Yeah,
up.
I know. No, I'm pretty sure it was like if you like all the smells, and the website was actually really cute because it was talking about, I guess, in the early morning on Sunday they have more of a silent kind of meditation
Oh
service,
wow.
and
Whoa.
yeah, at like 7, and then at like 9 a.m. they have the traditional service. So they were like, if you like the bells and whistles and the smoke and like they were funny about it. And they said this, and then at 11 is a modern one with like a kind of a Christian rock band and stuff, or
Interesting.
music.
I'd like to meet the staff of this church.
I
How do you put
know.
on 3 different services on Sunday?
I
That's
Can you
pretty
imagine?
good. Yes, I
That would
can.
make
That
me
seems hard.
insane. We can I'm having a hard time putting up 1.5 hour podcast episode.
Much
But
kudos to them.
exactly. Good for them. I don't know. I'll tell you how it is if we go.
Okay.
But but yeah, so that was sort of a roundabout way of talking about like even my relationship with spirit transforms and launches and takes off and then settles down. And sometimes I'm like bills and work and 3D shit. And then I'm like, oh yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah.
On podcasts, it's hard because I do like silence, but then you feel like you can't be silent on a podcast.
I know. It's like awkward silence.
But I do like
Um,
thinking, and I do like pauses, enough time for my ADHD brain to process everything.
and catch up. Well, they're kind of seeing in live action too, us finding our cadence, like and our rapport, because we usually text back and forth funny stuff, and so it's very real life. Um, yeah, and real life has been pretty hard.
It has this. What is this? What are we doing here? Why is this planet the way that it is?
I don't know.
Why did we choose? I feel like we chose to do this, so we're here. So maybe part of why we chose to do this is to find each other and to help other people along the way.
Hmm. And I think that what can often be helpful, well, the sort of people that I would imagine or that I would like attracted to this channel are not coming here looking for answers, because other people are not going to have your answers. You know what I mean?
Ugh,
They're
sucks, man.
I know, like I just give me the fucking answer. Um, but there are people who are looking at like, how are other people doing this shit?
Right.
And so that's where I think it's okay to kind of be loosey goosey with how this is going. And
There's
hi,
definitely a lot of spiritual gurus we can tell you to stay away from,
right?
and who you should
Exactly. I
listen
mean,
to.
basically anybody who I don't know what's a red flag with like of a
Red
spiritual leader.
spirit red flag
Yeah,
on play.
I'm totally healed. That's that's the big one. If anybody
If
ever
you're
tells you
totally
that,
healed, you should be ascending in a
yeah,
rainbow right now. Your
why are
body,
you here?
your body should explode into confetti.
Yeah, yeah, into confetti. What do you think is a red flag?
uh, for spiritual guidance.
I put you on the spot. I don't know. I didn't mean to do that.
Um. Well, I think self-indulgence. When I feel like you can feel it when people are
Yeah.
doing things for the wrong reasons, or I don't know. It's once you kind of see your own bullshit, then it's easier to see bullshit in others, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I feel like there's a saying in Spanish: "El gallo no se ve la cola por las plumas." The rooster can't see its
And
own asshole through its feathers. And I feel like humans are like that. You can't really see the things that are wrong unless somebody helps you
uh,
see. Such a big crass way.
oh, how does it
Crass.
go? In English, how? What was
The
it?
rooster, the rooster can't see its butt through its plumes, through its feathers. The rooster can't see its own butt through its feathers.
Wow.
And
I
I
really
just
like that.
I think that healing should be done in groups, because how do you know what you don't know? There are so many things I
Hmm.
didn't know, and I think honesty in a spiritual guru of them letting you know why they went through what they did, and the things that, yeah, like, we all have bullshit, and it's hard to hide, especially if you're in a platform on a spotlight. So we should all just start off very humble, because
Yeah.
and stay
and,
there.
and stay there. Exactly. Well, and I mean, I am kind of grateful because I feel like I'm to the point where if I step outside of humility, I recognize like the slap back pretty quick. You know what I
Oh
mean? I
yeah.
go,
Oh
"Ooh," I
yeah.
got a little, because sometimes
Mhm.
it seems like the further along I get, the um the quicker the turnaround time. Like I don't get like, oh, look at this human awakening. It's like, come on, bitch, you know better than that. It's a little bit more of a quick whatever response when I start stepping outside or getting into my ego or whatever.
Mhm. Mhm.
But
Same.
yeah. Um yeah. What were you just saying? Why am I, gosh, what decade am I in? No, we were talking, right, about spiritual leaders, and then like even the church. And I think there are also, I remember when I was a teenager, I went to this catechism. I was in high school, and the only reason I went, you had to go for like 12 weeks, and then you got to go on a ski trip. And I didn't ski, but there was a cute boy that was going.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
so I went to catechism. But the priest was not a regular priest. He was somebody that came down and was doing a sabbatical or whatever, and he was so interesting and so down to earth because
Mm.
he, priested, what's the word? He priested for like people on the streets in New York City. So like
Mm.
prostitutes, and you know what I mean? So I remember feeling, it was the first time that like the religious like wall that I had went down, and I was able
Mm.
to really ask him questions. I was like, this guy serves, but there's a word for it, ministers, I guess, to, and that was nice. So it really depends on where you are, and you're right, you can feel it. That's what I wanted to say. It's just something you feel. And yeah. And I think the more that we learn to trust ourselves and not defer to a leader or
Mm.
looking for someone else to tell us what to do, then the
Mhm.
more we can feel that feeling.
Yeah. Not always try to defer to others to do the work for you too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No spiritual bypassing. You got to feel it to heal
Unfortunately.
it.
Get real to heal. The only way out is through.
That's right. I went to Keenan's parent teacher conference tonight, and I always get really nervous around those because, not to get into it, but just, the custody thing and all the weirdness, and I don't know what they think. And so I was driving there and I was really tense, and
Mm.
because I'm like afraid. I'm still afraid that somebody's going to go, "Get out of here. You're not like really his mom." It's just weird. But while I was driving there, and I'm just like, "Ugh." And then I said, hold on, actually. And I relaxed my body, and I was like, I'm scared. And I like shook for a second, and then the fear like left. You know what I mean? But when you're driving around and you're unconsciously, it just builds up and builds up. But when I relax and feel the feeling, it passes through.
Well, that's helpful to know.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really helpful tonight because I don't want to show up there like that
And
on
nobody
top of
told you
it.
to leave?
No, no, they didn't. They didn't. They were all very nice.
Teacher, I was drinking a lot.
Dude,
So her
I don't blame. I mean, I've known a number of teachers. Every once in a while, I get like into the YouTube whirlpool of people getting arrested, like on the job, and a lot of them are
oh shoot.
teachers, and I feel so because they're drunk or you know what I mean, coming to school,
Yeah, I
and I
didn't
just
drink at
feel
school, but
in the parking
it's
lot
a
as I was leaving. No, I'm just kidding.
it's a it's like a culture. Like part of the narrative is grab a glass of wine, go sit down,
Hmm.
grade your papers. So I was like, okay, that sounds fun.
Yeah, you
But
don't have to tell me twice.
when your papers take like 2 or 3 hours a night, that's quite
Two,
a bit of
two or
alcohol.
three glasses. Well, wait, what? It's kind of funny because I think that teachers have emotionally heavy responsibilities. You know what I mean? Working with kids, also like nurses and stuff. And when I was in rehab, teachers and nurses were like the most represented professions, I would say.
Yeah.
Um,
What do we expect? It's a job
because they're
that's literally
caregivers.
can't do that job, especially how much caregiving is stacked on top of them. It's
Yep.
unreasonable. There's no amount of money that you could pay somebody to be okay with that. I think they always
Yeah.
ask for more money. I'm like, what about less work?
Right, right. Well, and the crazy thing too is I think with especially with the nurses, there was one night because we would have like our group sessions and there were five of them and they all talked about their first death on the job and
Mm,
how I have chills right now, but how everybody there just hurried around him and like it was, but that's like an initiation, you know what I mean? And so they would cry and they all remembered their first patient to die and how there was no care for follow up or aftercare for that, or, you know, and so you just stuff it down, drink
yeah.
or escape in some other way, you know?
Escape into sage and escape into
Yes.
books.
Escape into God and
Escape into
or the
God.
universe or whatever.
Yep. Amen. Huzzah.
Amen. Well, we'll have to come up with a little prayer to start this off with, or we have the prayer of protection. We'll figure it out. We're finding our way.
Finding our way. Yeah. Whenever you need the prayer protection, it's my favorite.
That's your favorite, I know. Awesome. Like and subscribe if you like what you see here. And
Come
you
back
will
for
see,
more.
yes, you will see us again. Namaste. Okay.
Namaste.